I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order for Tuesday, June 1st. Roll call, please.
Mary Kadowski,
Here.
Jim Allen,
Present.
Steve Kabacki,
Here.
Mike Skippington,
Here.
Gary Paul,
Here.
Campbell, and Krieger are excused.
Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the minutes from the regular meeting of May 18th, 2021.
You just move to approve.
Okay. Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda, must state your name and address, limited to 5 minutes. The board's role is to listen and not discuss the item. Personnel items cannot be discussed nor individuals named, and the board is not able to take action at this meeting. Are there any comments from the public on items not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. Number 7, action item 7A, action regarding requested conditional use permit for automobile sales at Dean's Budget Auto Center, 1067 Parkview Road, Parcel VA-201-A. Aaron.
Okay, as you can see up on screen, this is at the corner of Parkview and South Ridge. Property is right here, this corner parcel at 1067 Parkview Road. Received an application for a conditional use permit within the industrial park zone, or the I-2 zone for auto sales. The property is currently vacant. It's a relatively new building. It was constructed, I think, probably 2 or 3 years ago. The applicant has received signed approval from the property owner for use of the property as auto sales. Surrounding land uses are primarily industrial park and B3 community business, or B2 general business, I'm sorry. The conditional use permit, of course, is subject to neighbor notification and public hearing at the village board meeting at the end of the month. Because it's a conditional use request, there are conditions that staff is recommending be attached to the use of the property. These are largely as a result of issues we've had with other locations around the village and are not indicative of what may or may not happen at the current site. But recommended conditions include the following. Automobiles shall only be parked on paved portions of parcel VA-201-A. Automobiles shall not be parked in the public right-of-way. No inoperable or parts vehicles may be kept on site. All signage, temporary and permanent, shall meet the requirements of the Ashwaubenon signage regulations. No more than 10 vehicles may be for sale on the property at any one time. Automobile repair and detailing shall be incidental to the use of the property for automobile sales and only for those automobiles to be sold on site. And number 7, no automobile painting or body work is permitted on site. So it is to be used as a auto sales location. Staff does recommend approval of the Planning Commission to the Village Board, subject to the public hearing. I'd be happy to answer any questions for you. Dean is also in the audience here, the owner of the car dealership. If you have questions for him as well.
Aaron and I, you and I went over this afternoon. I compliment the board, or excuse me, the staff and Aaron for putting together such a tight conditions on this property. We've had enough problems with junkyards, and I'll call them junkyards, in this village. We have to tighten up on that. I think this what you got wrote down here, I think we'll take care of that on that site. So there's no other questions, I'll move to approve.
I've just got one question. They got 10 vehicles maybe for sale. Can there be more than 10 vehicles on the site, but only 10 for sale?
Right, the number 10 for sale is actually based on the number of parking stalls on the property. There's a little bit of additional room there for anyone who's stopping in to purchase a vehicle.
Okay, so you think it works then? You think it works the way it is
Yes,
stated?
yes, sir.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, so the motion and the second is also with conditions, correct?
Correct.
Yes, with staff conditions.
Okay. Did you have a question, Mike?
Yeah, go back to the 10 vehicles. Suppose I've got myself and 4 employees there. I got 10 vehicles on the site. And another 10, I'm sorry, got 5 vehicles on the site, plus another 10 vehicles can be on the site.
So you are limited based upon the parking area. So at most, they can have 10 vehicles on site for sale. If they have staff, if there's 1 or 2 vehicles there for staff, they only have, again, they can only park on the paved surface of that parcel. So they are still limited to the number that is allowable on the site.
Okay. So obviously, they can only have a total of 10 vehicles. So if they have 2 staff, they can only have 8 for sale.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
It is limited based upon the size of the lot.
Limited.
Sure.
I need you
Coming up.
to state your name and address, please, for the record.
Dean Byer, 1025 Cider Drive, Deep Ear. There is a showroom, actually. It is a very nice building. And in the inside, I can display probably 5 vehicles for sale inside, with still having enough room for the detailing area. And we're not talking about junk vehicles. I'm talking about high-end vehicles. I sell classic cars. I sell, mostly newer vehicles, Corvettes. I'm a very big Corvette guy, so I sell a lot of high-end Corvettes, Jeeps, lifted Chevy trucks. As far as any junk going to be there, there's going to be no junk there. I'm not a junk dealer. I'm a pretty much high-end car dealer. But we do have enough that we could display 5 cars inside the building comfortably, with still being able to detail and service our vehicles that are for sale.
Well, the premise that you got here, 10 cars on a lot, you're not going to probably have an employee in yourself. So I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem with a junkyard. And that ain't going to happen here.
I agree with you.
I'll guarantee you that. What experience do you have in the automotive business?
I've been in the automotive business for about 30 years. I ran my own shop for 26 years. This has previously been M&R Sales. I don't know if you guys are M&R Sales, Monty Roloff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but he has run this as a auto sales lot before. And I've actually been in charge of it, because he's on his way out, and I kind of took it over for him because he wants to retire. The problem is he doesn't want to give up the M&R Sales because he has other businesses attached to that. So that's why we wanted to come in and get a conditional use permit, because basically I want to put my name on it so he can move on.
He's too young to retire.
I'll tell him that. He's a good guy.
You yourself do not have another dealership at this time.
I do have another dealership, but I had one on the east side of Green Bay for about 25 years. I've won awards from the state. I ran a very good, well-oiled business, and I ended up getting bought out, and I sold the business. So now I'm just basically working with Monty. I did keep my dealer's license, but I put it at a different location. But I basically was helping Monty run the M&R Sales at this location. So nothing's going to change. I mean, if you haven't had any complaints now, I'm still going to run the business, and I've been running it for about a year for him.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second to move on to village board for a public hearing with staff conditions. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
This will be at village board on June 22nd, Aaron?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, 7B, action regarding the final plat of Highland Ridge Estates parcels VA-L184 and VA-L197. Karen?
Okay, you had previously seen the preliminary plat of Highland Ridge Estates, which, of course, the preliminary plat showcases the entire development to ensure proper planning. The final plat is broken up into phases. In this case, this is phase 1 of a planned 3 phases of development. And as you see up on the screen, this is the first phase. This is Sand Acres Drive right here, north-south. This is Highland Ridge Drive, the primary east-west corridor. And then, of course, Hank Drive continues to the north this way, and Lucy Lane right here, another east-west street. Total of, I believe, 45 lots for the final plat. It does include Outlot 1 right here for stormwater management. The final plat is substantially similar to the preliminary plat, so therefore there's really not a whole lot of wiggle room per se in terms of the review process. I did feel it was important to identify where we are in terms of the preliminary plat conditions of approval, and I identified those in the staff report where we're at with that. We're making very good progress on those. Most of those, again, are just matter of course. We're in the process of completing the development agreement, for instance. We're very close to getting that done. We'll have that wrapped up for the village board meeting for village board review and approval on the 22nd. In terms of recommended conditions of approval for the final plat, number 1, approval by the Ashwaubenon Village Board of a development agreement, including but not limited to those items identified as conditions in the preliminary plat approval. Review the use of the street name Clay Court with Brown County. The reason for that is, although there's not a Clay Street in Ashwaubenon, there is a Clay Street on the east side of Green Bay, Alloway area. So the county will have review authority on that to make sure there are no confusion from there. Review splitting Hank Avenue into East Hank Avenue for this phase of the development and West Hank Avenue for the future phase. The reason for that is in terms of the addressing methodology. It just makes sense to break Hank Drive into east and west for this phase for the address grid. There's just a slight revision to the surveyor certificate to reflect the recorded CSM, or certified survey map number, page, and document number. That's currently blank. And then approval by the Brown County Planning Commission. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, Trevor Thompson, as developer, is also in the audience.
Why do the Hank Avenue and not Lucy east and west, and what's the other one, east and west?
So the Hank Avenue actually makes kind of a loop. So it goes up and then comes back down. So when you have that type of situation, it makes sense to cut that into an east and west. Lucy is a continuous east-west run.
Aaron, question I just thought of. Is this, let's say, the half of the first 9 holes, and then the expansion will go, let's say, across the creek to the back first 9?
Okay.
Is that what I'm looking at here?
So
In other words, he didn't use up the whole first 9.
correct. This is all to the east of that creek.
Of that creek, okay.
Yep. So it does not include the area, say, south of Lost Lane, for instance.
Right, okay. So there is room to move on to the next phase on this property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, if you remember back, the preliminary plat actually didn't include the area west of that creek.
Yeah, I don't remember the original plot of the whole property, but I understand what you're saying. Okay.
This is the area north of the Grant Avenue extension there that was tabled last week, or last month?
Yes, this is
quite a ways north.
pretty far north. Yeah, this is well north of that property.
Okay.
If you can picture the Grant Avenue property, Then there's the back 9 of Highland Ridge. This would be the front 9, and it'd be the east side of the front 9.
Okay, any more questions? Concerns?
The final draft will come in front of the village board for all the unanswered questions yet, then I'm assuming.
Correct. The final plat will go to village board on the 22nd along with the development agreement.
Okay, okay.
I'd make a motion to approve as presented and submit to the village board.
Go on.
Just to clarify,
With the recommended final plat conditions.
thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend approval of the final plat of Highland Ridge Estates Phase 1 with listed conditions. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 8, items for next agenda. I don't know if we have anything.
Don't know yet.
It's too early.
Yep, it is.
When does that fall, with July 4th?
It falls on July 6th.
Okay.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second
Second.
to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
This conference is no longer being